You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cricket Podcast. As I started the show with, I will commence now, to use good English. We have been nominated for the Sports Podcast Award, Cricket Podcast of the Year, and we want you to vote for us because that's how we will win that and how we will please ourselves. Jesus. Head over to the Sports Podcast Awards. You can find that by Googling it or heading to the show notes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you're listening. Click the link or find Cricket Podcasts on that website and vote for us. And maybe we win, maybe we won't. I don't know what we win. I have no idea.
What this sounds like, Jack, is that someone has put all of our episodes into an AI engine and just gone, can you do an intro while we've won an award? And it spat out what you've just said.
That's exactly what I've got on my notes. That's how I create my notes, rather.
I'm just disappointed that we don't still have the Manscaped sponsorship at the moment, because that would have been a really nice segue from pleasing ourselves.
It would have. You probably still use the code and get my Manscaped gear. Cricket Pod. Try it out.
We now do have 556 reviews on.
Do we?
Yeah, a nice 4.7 rating for the people who. Wondering, we should be 5, but there's people who don't like when we're honest about KL Rahul. So
yeah. Sorry if we said
something. More believable though, isn't it? 4.7. If it said 5, people would be like, "That's all fake, isn't it?"
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
And I think we're about to lose some YouTube subscribers because we've still got our India banner up on a Pakistan Test match discussion video. So we're going downhill there. So if you like our stuff, I don't know where we're going with this really. If you like our stuff, vote for us.
If you reviewed us on Spotify, vote for us.
Max, I'm trying to wrap this fucking bit up. We're crying out loud.
I'm doing it for you.
Like and subscribe to the Cricket Podcast. Done. Australia v Pakistan. Here's my. Can I do my summary and then Max, you can fill in the details.
No, you can.
Pakistan. Right. Oh baby, they got a decent first inning score. Then they got some rain. Then they got Steve Smith in the most hilarious trap with 3 cover fielders. Then they got the last 5 wickets for just 10 runs. They got a first innings lead. They've got freaking Aamer Jamal, baby. They got to the end of the day, 60 for 7. What the fuck are you doing, Pakistan? You're going to win. That's my summary. Have I missed anything?
No, I don't think so. I think that's everything.
Can you catch Pakistan? That would be a good one.
Can you catch? Yeah. What I was saying, like, it's what that third day of the test is one of the most bonkers days of cricket I can remember in a long time. It was incredible, so much fun.
So we should say, I mean, we know what's going to happen. We should say they haven't actually lost yet. We've done this a day before the end of that test because we've got a bit of time now, and we didn't want to wait a whole day to wrap up what's definitely going to be a crushing Australian win. With
now Rizwan and Jamal are at the crease, mate. They were the heroes of the first innings. It's going to repeat
8-1 ahead. But Max, I don't know where you were going. Back to you.
I don't know where I was going either. But yeah, as we talk now, Pakistan 68 for 7 at the end of day 3. So got their work cut out to win. But like Russ rightly said, Rizwan 88. And Aamer Jamal 82 in the first innings. If they can put on 100, they've got a lead of 82. You never know. There's a chance. I mean, Australia collapsed on at the end of day 2. There's definitely a bit of rough around. There's a bit of turn, and the Hazelwood and Stark looked really dangerous with the ball. So if they could somehow eke out a bit of a lead, then they are in with just a bit of a shout, but it's looking difficult. In all likelihood, it'll be 75 all out and game over. But we should hold out hope. You never know.
The motivation should be to hit enough runs where David Warner doesn't go out winning with by 10 wickets. That should be the thing, that he gets to literally bat all the way through,
or even
down.
hitting the winning runs. Yeah,
Can't
have that.
His baggy green is back though. Did you see that after his
No.
plea that someone has taken his baggy green? It's got back to him. So
did they keep everything else in the backpack?
I have no idea. But in his, what I really like about this is, and this is probably going away from the cricket for a second, is one, David Warner makes it all about him, which is classic, and we're all here for that. But two, Steve Smith's had a chomp at the apple, isn't he? And David Warner's obviously retiring. Steve Smith has now come out and said, yeah, I fancy taking over David Warner's position. How much does Steve Smith hate Cameron Bancroft is what I really want to know. Because this is the only route back. This is the only route back into the team for Bancroft, really, until Usman Khawaja retires. And Steve Smith's already done Sandpaper Gate for the poor bloke. And now it's this. Like, maybe there's just a bit of a vendetta there.
I reckon nobody's told Steve Smith he doesn't get to bat twice. I think he thinks that
he can't open and bat 4.
Yeah. I think that's what Steve Smith thinks happening. I, in my opinion, is a simple man. Probably doesn't really fully understand. How many times recently have you seen him out LBW plumb? Like, then they put it on the big screen. Like, they show a replay of him being out LBW plumb, ball hitting the stumps, and then, like, he's reviewed it and all that. And then, like, he's shocked. Like, he's absolutely can't believe that it's happened. I think there's like a rules thing. He doesn't fully understand what's happening. That's my take. I think, just to go into this in a little bit more detail, I think when he sees the Hawkeye replay, he's like, no, that can't have happened because it hit my pad. I reckon that's his take on those dismissals. And I think in this scenario, he believes that because David Warner's no longer in the team. And remember, Steve Smith's only known Australia with David Warner opening the batting. He's not able really to conceive of anything else. He thinks that there's just
he's losing his point of reference.
He was also incredibly shocked at the fact that he'd hit the ball straight to one of the 3 covers.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I mean, look, this is more evidence for my theory here that Steve Smith is a simple man. That was one of the most astonishing things I've ever seen in cricket. I mean, this is the probably the best Test player of his generation falling into a trap that you wouldn't see in junior cricket. Like, there were 3 guys. You could have had it. One of them could have held an umbrella up, and 2 guys either side wouldn't have got wet in the rainstorm they had on day 2 or day 1. Like, they'd have been fine. They'd be nice and dry out there. And they did it. It was only with 1 ball. It took for that to happen. That's peak Pakistan, that they can pull that trick off. They can have this Jamal character, and someone's got to talk about him going absolutely bananas. There's an amazing stat. He's one of the, I think he's the 4th all-rounder ever to go to Australia and average under 20 with the ball and more than 30 with the bat, up there with I think Imran Khan, Botham, and maybe Wasim Akram or something like that. Is it Wasim? Like, it's high company that this guy's in. Innings lead, they've got a lead after the first innings. They're set to ruin David Warner's farewell. David Warner gets his baggy green back. He thought that had ruined it. He's feeling sky high. They're there. They're in the driver's seat. And then 67 for 7. I mean, it couldn't be any more
Pakistan
ridiculous.
It's weird and wonderful simultaneously, isn't it?
I mean, and there was some good bowling in there, we should be said, but there was some horrendous batting from Pakistan in that in that second innings, just dangling the bat out, like no footwork, just really shit. Like Travis Head took a wicket bowling non-turning off spin, just feathering one to the keeper for a nothing shot. It was just like, how many times do we have to say it? It was so Pakistan. Like, everything about this Test match has been pure Pakistan. Like, one extreme to the other, brilliance followed by complete catastrophe, comedy, and you're just willing for them to put it all together one time. They've had so many good moments in this series. They've had the wool over Australia on a couple of occasions, and every time they've just let it slip.
I think it's just like, it's an entertainment thing. So it's not about winning anymore. Like, Bazball has kind of just said, Pakistan, right, you be Pakistan, because cricket is not about winning. It's about entertaining.
Pakistan are saving Test cricket.
And they were just like, what's one of the most impressive entertainment live shows? Cirque du Soleil. And what can we cross that with cricket? And that's what they do. It's a performance. And the fact that the guy was off having a waz and the substitute fielder is in first step, was moved one of the guys into first step, then drops David Warner in identical fashion to what happened in the first innings. It was poetic. And that's what I just love following Pakistani cricket.
They've still got a chance to win it, I
They do.
suppose. But I mean, it's just bonkers, isn't it? I mean, the whole
It's frustrating, especially when they're in
Like-
it's Australia.
they're 96 for 5, then they're 227 for 9, then they finish on 313 for 10 in the first innings. I mean, like that chain of events by itself, that could be a podcast. Like, then yeah, as you say, drops galore to well,
And not difficult chances as well, right? These are they're bred of like, oh, we would catch them. Like this we would catch these things.
At least 50%
they
of the
do
time.
that, and then they kind of, I mean, Australia are sort of cruising away with it. Then they do Smith and Labuschagne in consecutive overs. Well, pretty much. In fact, it was consecutive overs. Wrap up the innings for 10 runs, and they're in control. Even in the second innings, yeah. Look, I know that they lose 2 really, really quick wickets early, but they're also 50 for 2. At that point, effectively, 65 ahead, 65 for 2 in the second innings of what looks like it's going to be a not a super high scoring fourth innings game. Like you're feeling pretty confident at that point. You've got Babar Azam played in. I don't really know too much about the other guy. Yeah.
Babar Azam's gone literally off the cliff.
And then they lose 5 wickets for, well, how many is that? 9 runs.
Well, they saw India do it, right? They were just like, well, India have just set a record and they've lost 6 wickets for no runs. Well, we're better than India, so let's see what happens here.
Maybe it's perplexing. It would have been good for them. I feel like they played the cricket they played was so entertaining over the 3 matches that they deserve a win. But this is against anyone else in the world. I think they'd have just given them a win as well. Like I can't see England being ruthless enough against an entertaining team like this to actually put them to the sword. It's only really Australia that would do this. But they're going to do it, aren't they? Australia, they're inevitable, as we said on the last episode. Anything else on this test?
No, just that bowling lineup is just relentless, isn't it? Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins is fantastic. Always seems to deliver. And
We got another 5. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nathan Lyon, the supporting cast, it's just phenomenal.
Max, anything from you?
No, again, Aamer Jamal. I mean, great. He got 6 in the first game, didn't he, as well, and another 6-wicket haul. So another in the line of Pakistani pacers to watch out for. So
quite an interesting action is what I've taken away.
Yeah,
from it.
really sort of catapults it down, doesn't he? Like front on, full body, slings it down. So all action, which is
kind of looks like Rafael Nadal has kind of one arm bigger than the other arm. That's how I kind of see it. Like literally, just so much. He's just got a massive one arm.
Yeah, but if he turns out to be an actual thing, and Shaheen Afridi can get some of his mojo back, I think Fat Bastard must have gone back in time and stolen that, and then you got Naseem
very
Shah
niche Austin Powers reference there, Max.
Well, it's not that niche. If you've seen the second film, then that's the entire plot. Spoilers. But it's exciting. It's exciting to that Pakistan bowling attack.
Right. To wrap up this part, we've got one question in from Ben Smith on Twitter. We had another question in from Kumar on the India game about the pitches, but we sort of covered that, so I didn't read it out. But thanks for the question anyway, Kumar. Ben Smith says, where does Warner rank in all-time test openers? Bear in mind, he's the king of narratives too. And I think that's a good way to end this segment, because this might be the last time we talk about Warner from an international cricket point of view. I think he's still hanging around the T20s, isn't he? And probably will play that World Cup. But this is him signing off in tests. Max, you can go first. What's Warner's legacy?
So, I mean, I think David Warner as a test opener he's high class. He's always been a high class, belligerent, getting his teams off to fast starts, and he really puts pressure on sides. Like I don't know if I would class him as like all-time great in tests, but like maybe the rung below. Although he does have 335 not out, so that's not bad. Bad thing to have. But I as an all-format cricketer, I think he has to be like up there as one, and potentially an all-time great, just because those three format cricketers just don't come along all that often. You've got a guy who averages 45 in tests and ODIs and 32 in T20 internationals. Like, to be that good in all those formats is an incredible achievement. So I think as a cricketer, skill-wise, really, really up there, top class. As a bloke, I don't know, questionable, but I'll stick to the cricket.
Ross, what do you reckon? Warner, where's he rank in the pantheon of Test match openers?
Clearly he's hit a lot of runs, but he's a bit of a home bully, is the way I've always seen it. Hasn't travelled particularly well to England, hasn't travelled particularly well to India, but you still got to hit the runs when they are there. And Australia, they were pretty much scared to leave Australia, weren't they, for a couple of years, where he just hit loads of runs as well. So, overall, I think he's a pretty class player. Test match, he's not a Test match great, but he's definitely an all format great.
Oh, I think he might be a Test match great. I'm more in Max's camp here. I don't think he's GOAT category. He's not going to be in your all-time Test 11 opening the batting. I think he might not even be top 10, but I don't think that means he wasn't certainly a generational great. I'm just going to read out, Ross, for your benefit here. 111 Test matches. That's not bad, is it? I mean, that's I would say a great number of Test matches to have played. That's my take on that. 8,695 runs. There's another, again, I would say that's a great amount of runs to score. Batting average of 44.5. I think that's really the only stat line where you say there's questions.
Because he didn't travel well.
But he did play for a long time, and he did open the batting. I mean, that's
in a tough era. But
I think in his era, he's in the conversation for the best opener of his era. I'd say you'd probably say Alistair Cook's above him in terms of early Warner, and you'd probably say Rohit Sharma's above him now. So maybe he doesn't get the job, but I can't. Anyone else on the top of your head that you'd throw in there? Craig Brathwaite, Dean the Cockinator Elgar, Zach Crawley. All options, aren't they? Usman Khawaja actually is pretty good. Usman Khawaja would be a shout, but
Graham Smith. Does that cross? There's probably some crossover there, isn't there?
Yeah, like late career Smith.
That's what I mean. Like, he's not in my all-time 11, and that's why I took class. You're extending the greatness.
You also, there's only 11 great players ever. I mean, there we go. That's even more ridiculous.
Well, it's not a top 10.
One of them's our leg as well.
Would you say Dave Warner is better than you?
Yes, obviously.
Yeah, I think Max. I think you hit the nail on the head. Great, but not greatest ever. In that thing.
Oh gosh, it's always annoying.
It's true though, isn't it? He'd probably be in Australia. Would you have him above Justin Langer? If you got Matt Hayden, would Warner be the next guy? Could be.
Yeah, I think,
and that's not bad.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good shout. Yeah, it's a pretty good shout. But yeah, it is tough because Australia just have produced so many good players, right? And yeah, there's a bit of he's just not a very nice. It's just an awful bloke. It's really difficult to buy into that.
I'm looking forward to the Australia carousel though of who replaces Warner. I mean, Cameron Green's already come out. This is like watching England tear themselves to pieces about. Well, maybe Chris Woke should get a go at opening the batting. I'm really intrigued to see where they go because I mean, a lot of the names of people they've tried, right? Marcus Harris, Cameron Bancroft. I mean, I'm not buying into a lot of that. And then Usman Khawaja is going to have to retire some point soon. He's not. Probably can't be far away as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the next cab off the rank is. So they were banking on Will Pukowski, weren't they? But I don't think that's going to be viable with the...
the guy literally can't leave his house without a safety helmet on. Like literally, there's no chance of him being there, is it?
No, which is a shame because, he looked like he could potentially be a player. But So it's really, really interesting
They'll
to see where
find someone.
Australia go from here. I'm sure they will.
They'll find someone.
They'll find someone who's the best player
Travis
of all
Head will
time
do it.
from somewhere.
Travis Head will do it and score a bazillion runs against the West Indies next month, and no one will even miss Warner. There you go.
No.
Solved.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to take a break.
Great category.
We are. Then we can have the same conversation in 10 more years when Travis Head retires.
Travis Head,
Actually,
unforgettably good. Travis Head.
Yeah, unforgettably good.
Right, let's take a break. We'll be back in a minute.